In the heart of West Africa, where the great rainforest stretched like a green ocean to every horizon, and the red earth ran deep as blood beneath the feet of kings, there arose a civilization unlike any the world had seen. Not built in a day, not built by accident, built by warriors and visionaries, by mothers who remembered and sons who refused to forget. It was called Benin, and for 7 centuries its name made the world pause. Long before European ships appeared on the Atlantic horizon, the people of the forest had already built something extraordinary. They were the Edo people, rooted in this land, shaped by its seasons, faithful to its rhythms. And from their hands and hearts and wars and griefs came a kingdom that would one day astonish the world.
It began with the Ogiso, the kings of the sky.
We cannot delay. The kingdom falters, but rash action invites ruin. Wisdom must prevail over fear. The kingdom is in peril. We must act now.
And when it ended in crises, they sent to Ife and asked for a prince. His name was Oranmian. He came, looked, and called Benin a land of vexation, a place only a child of its own could govern. So he left behind a son, born of a Benin princess. That son was Iweka the First. And with Iweka, the Oba dynasty began.
The Oba means king, but in Benin it meant something more.
The Oba was not just a ruler, he was a living link between the people and the divine, between the ancestors and the unborn. But it was Aware the Great, rising to power in the 15th century, who transformed Benin from a kingdom into an empire.
He was a warrior, a visionary. He rebuilt the city from the ground up. Walls, moats, a defensive system so vast that centuries later scholars found it longer than the Great Wall of China. Built not with machines, with baskets and hands and will.
He reorganized the government, created new title systems, expanded Benin's territory east and west, north and south. Under Aware, Benin did not just grow, it became.
And then there were the bronzes. Iware built the empire with war and governance. But it was the artists of Benin who built its immortality. The Bronze Casters Guild had existed for centuries. Under the great Obas, their work reached heights that would one day leave the Western world speechless. They cast plaques, hundreds, perhaps thousands, scenes of court life, battle, ceremony, warriors, Obas, even Portuguese traders, wide-eyed in a land they were only beginning to understand. Each plaque a record, each plaque a history made permanent in metal.
By the late 15th century, Portuguese ships arrived on the coast of West Africa. They were looking for trade routes, for gold, for connection with the legendary kingdoms of the interior. What they found in Benin surprised them. a court of extraordinary sophistication, an oba who received them. The early relationship between Benin and Portugal was remarkable. Trade flowed: pepper, ivory, cloth. Ambassadors were exchanged. A Benin delegation travelled to Lisbon.
Your Excellency, we extend the warmest welcome from the Crown.
We receive your welcome with honor and anticipation for the discussions ahead.
And Oba Esigie, one of the great obas of the 16th century, learned to read and write in Portuguese.
But history is rarely only one thing. The same trade routes that carried pepper and ivory and artistry also began to carry something darker: the slave trade. By the 18th century, the kingdom Iware built began to strain under its own complexity. The Oba's power entered into tension with the titled chiefs. Civil conflicts. The empire's reach contracted. But the Benin that faced the 19th century was not the Benin of Iware's golden age. It was older, and something was coming from the sea.
I can offer you 2 shillings a barrel for this shipment.
That is too low. The quality is exceptional today. We ask for 3.
In January 1897, a British delegation set out toward Benin City. Acting Consul General Phillips led the party, uninvited, during a sacred period when the Oba had specifically asked that no visitors come. The Oba's messengers tried to stop them. The British pressed forward. Near the village of Urbine, the delegation was attacked. 7 British officials and a number of African carriers were killed. Britain called it a massacre. And within weeks, a punitive expedition was assembled. Over 1,000 soldiers, gunboats, Maxim guns. Modern industrial warfare aimed at a kingdom built of courage and bronze. In February 1897, the British forces entered Benin City.
Advance, men! Advance! Lay the ladders! For Benin! Lay siege to the walls! No retreat! Well done, lads! Benin is ours! Press on to the palace!
The Oba Ovon Remwen, surrounded, betrayed by some of his own chiefs, his city in flames, was captured. He was tried. He was exiled to Calabar. He died in exile in 1914. And the bronzes, the thousands of plaques and sculptures and altarpieces that filled the palace and the shrines of Benin were seized, carried away as loot, sold to European museums, to private collectors, to institutions that placed them in glass cases, far from the people who made them. Benin's memory, scattered across the world like seeds that could not be planted. Those bronzes were more than art. They were the history of a people, cast in metal precisely so it could not be forgotten. And yet they were taken to the British Museum, to Berlin, to Vienna, to collections across Europe and America.
But here is what the punitive expedition did not account for. Benin did not end. The Oba institution survived. In 1914, Oba Iweka II was installed, the son of the exiled Ovonramwen. The kingship breathed again. The Egun Eronwon, the bronze casters, kept casting. The Edo people kept remembering. They kept being Benin, even when the colonial administration tried to rearrange everything around them. The bronzes are coming home. Museums in Germany, in the United Kingdom, across the Western world have begun to return what the 1897 expedition took. Because in the economy of justice, nothing stolen stays stolen forever. And the Oba still sits on his throne, the 39th in a line that stretches back to Iweka I, a living testimony to a people who could not be ended. The Guild of Egun Eromwan still casts bronze in the city where bronze casters have worked for 700 years.
Subscribe for more.